Well, what is up, guys? Today we're going to talk about drugs in prison. As always, this is just my own personal opinion, what I've seen, what I've experienced of drugs in prison. I don't tell lies on this channel. I just tell people the truth. I tell them how it is, and people seem to appreciate that. So let's get into it. Now, when I was doing time, spice wasn't a thing back then. It was all about heroin. People used to get heroin in. Now, the reason why they would go for heroin is because, like weed, it's a big package. An ounce of weed is quite big, and it stinks as well. Whereas heroin, it's like 10 times more valuable. It's a smaller package, it doesn't smell until you burn it. So obviously you're going to go with what's easiest and what's the most valuable in prison. So a lot of people would get heroin in, and if you get a cellmate who gets heroin in, it's like hitting the jackpot in prison. You get non-stop drugs, as much munchies as you want. You know what I mean? You can live like a king if your cellmate gets visits. So I'm going to talk about a few times when my cellmates got drugs in prison. Now, the first guy was he was a Geordie bloke, and he was a lovely bloke. We both came in at the same time, but he came from another prison, so he was doing 10 years. He's been in for like 5 years or something. And I'd just come in, I was skinny, scruffy, long hair, detoxing from heroin, and they put us both in the same cell, and he says, I don't want to go in with him, he's rattling, he's detoxing. You know what I mean? I'm doing 10 years, and I totally get that. You don't want to be in with someone rattling when you've been in for a while. And the screw says, well, you either go in or you go down block. So he says, all right then. So he's gone in, he says, look, not against you, but I don't want to be in with someone who's detoxing. I said, listen, mate, I totally get it. I says, but I'm a good pad, mate, I will sort my sin out, I get money, I'm respectful, I'm a good pad, mate, I don't have dickheads round. And he says, all right then. And a couple months later, we became really good friends. And it got to the point where they offered him enhanced to move to another wing to get more privileges, and he knocked it back because he was happy being celled up with me. And he ended up getting visits. And what it was is there was a kid on the wing from Sheffield, and his girlfriend used to bring him drugs in, but she never had no money. So there was somebody there available, but they didn't have the drugs to bring in. So my cellmate got some of his mates from Newcastle to send a parcel through the post to his girlfriend. She could have half, and then she'd bring other half in, and my cellmate and that lad would have half each. So everyone's a winner. So we ended up with a pad mate with loads of gear. So everyone were trying to get in with him. He used to tell me at the end of the day, he'd say, oh, so-and-so's been up to me today, trying to get you out and him in. And, and that happened loads of times, but he just fucked him up. And you end up with loads of stuff. I mean, he used to just, see, back then it weren't done on computer. You used to have to write a canteen form out. And he would just pass me a canteen form and say, here, get what you want. But I mean, we was at the point where we had non-stop tobacco, non-stop munchies, loads of shower gels. We were never going to use it all. So, we wanted for nothing. And there was a thing what bothered me. Now, everybody used to come to me all the time wanting to borrow stuff. And eventually I just got sick of it, and I started saying, no, I can't, I ain't got it, I can't. And one kid came up from Donny, and he says, oh, can you lend me a couple of items? He says, my visit didn't come, I owe someone, I'm going to get beat up. And I went onto autopilot, and I just said, oh, I can't, mate, I ain't got it. And then later on that day he got beat up, and I just felt so guilty. And it still bothers me to this day, I could have given him the 2 items, but I was just fed up with everyone coming to me all the time. But anyway, yeah, that was a Geordie kid who was getting visits. And when I got out, I told him that I'd send him some in the post. And I did that, I got out, I got 2 destruction flyers, I got a blob of heroin, I put it in between the 2 flyers and sent it in the post. But he said he didn't get it on the phone. I says, well, I sent it to your mate like you told me to. And he said, oh, well, my mate's been moved off at wing. I says, fuck it, I bet he's been caught. Because I did it before with a kid from Donny. Sales, he's dead now. I got 2 postcards. I blobbed some heroin up, put it in between the 2 postcards, glued it and sent it to him. and he got it in the post, and the screws took it in his cell, and he says the screw like ripped the cardboard open, and the blob just exploded and went all over the floor. He says he just picked the big bits up and fucked off and got nicked or whatever. He says, but there were loads still left on the floor, so they still got a boot out of it. But yeah, that was the Geordie kid. He was a decent lad. You know, I enjoyed being padded up with him. The next time was a Scouser. Now it looked like he could sing in a tabernacle choir. You know, he had like curly hair, glasses on, but you know, he couldn't fight. But he was one of those who was wicked. He would use a razor blade like when you weren't looking. He was notorious for slashing people, and so everyone knew not to mess with him. And I ended up getting celled up with him, and he was all right, but you know, he was always moaning. So eventually, I was working. I was a cleaner on the wing. So eventually, I thought, fuck it, I'm going to move into a single pad. You know, he was getting visits, but he was just doing me head in now and again. So I thought I want a single cell. So I moved into a single cell, and he was still getting visits. And he came up to me. He says, "Here, there's a thing there." He says, "But if you smoke it, don't come out your cell. You know, because if you're walking around the wing, when you've had heroin, your eyes are pinned, they're glazed over, your nose goes red, you're bloody scratching your face. It's obvious that you've had something." So he says, if you use it, when you use it, make sure you're behind your door. So I says, yeah, nice one, sound. So I've gone away, had a smoke, and I've come out to do my job. And he was fucking screaming, banging on the door, shouting, "Paddy, you fucking prick. Come here, you fucking dick." So I've gone over, and he was stood there. He says, "I told you not to come out your fucking cell." He was stabbing the door. He was fucking fuming. And his cellmate, his new cellmate, this Scottish kid, he told me the next day. He says he was fucking fuming last night. He says he was stabbing door with his pen and what. And you know, that was my fault. I shouldn't have come out of the cell, but I had to do my cleaning. But I never got busted anyway. So yeah, that was the Scouse kid. And there was another kid when we was down on Lower Med. See, what they used to do if you were detoxing from heroin, they'd put everyone down the Lower Med, which was like a dorm, and there'd be a set of double cells and a set of double cells. And there was two gypsy blocks, and they used to mix adults and cons, you know, because it was a detox wing. So the adults were with the kids mixed together, and there was these two gyppos, and there was watching the telly in the dorm, and this YO jumped up, a kid from Donny, I'll not say his name, but he turned the telly over, and this gypsy kid says, "Here, turn that back, I'm watching that." And this YO says, "Oh, and what? What are you going to do? And what?" So the gypsy walks up to him and says, "Oh, listen, mate," bosh, smashed him with a right hook, straight on his chin, put him on his knees, and the gypsy bloke says, "Listen, you've had a squeeze, just, you know, take it like a man." And he says, "Yeah, but I've got to go to hospital, you've cut all inside of my mouth." And he ended up getting nicked for it, because I think there's cameras down there, or someone saw it or something, I don't know. But he got nicked for it, and he got put in a cell with me, and you know, he was getting drugs. And what I used to do is, I used to put Valium in my tracky bottoms, and then when I got arrested, put me these tracky bottoms on, and I would have loads of Valium around the waistband. And I was in with him, so we was doing Valium, and he had gear. And there was another kid who, he had a mate who was a boxer, and he says, "Oh, I'm getting a visit tomorrow. If you sort me a few valleys tonight, I'll sort you from my visit tomorrow." I says, "Yeah, all right, no problem. I'll give it to a cleaner to give to you." So I've shouted the cleaner over, we got banged up, I've got him out, and I give to the cleaner. I says, "Here, give them to him." And then next morning he's coming up, he says, "Ah, you fucked it, you're not getting note." I says, what are you on about?" He says, "You fucking didn't send me note." I said, "I fucking sent you some Valium with the cleaner." He says, "Well, you never give me him." I said, "Well, I'm telling you, ask me pad mate, I give him to give to you." So anyway, all I saw were him and his mate, the boxer, gone into the cleaner's cell, and as I walked past, I seen him jump on him, and they were filling him in. I mean, you know, I'd give him something for taking them, so there was no need for him to have them all, because I'd already sorted him out just for taking them. But he had them all himself, and he got clipped for it. But yeah, that was just a couple anecdotes of a couple stories from people that got padded up with that used to get visits. Now, I wasn't one of these who like religiously search for drugs, because you get people like that. They're obsessed. All they do all day and night is just look for drugs. But I would have it if it came to me. You know, I won't go searching for it. I always thought, well, it's drugs what's put me in here, so I don't want to be having more while I'm in here. But if someone brings them to me, then I will have them. But anyway, that's the video for today. Oh, before I go, there was another guy who got a visit in, and he got a big parcel. It was supposed to be heroin, but it was fake. It was called bash. That's what you call fake heroin. It looks like it, smells like it, but it's not. It's called bash. And he got a big old parcel in, and half the wing like bought this gear off him, and it was fake. I think he ended up moving wings and fucking going on protection. And there was another bloke, one of my mates, who came in and he had some crack on him, and he says, "Oh, I need some orange juice." He says, "If you get me some orange juice, I'll sort you a couple of pipes out." So I says, "Alright then." So, and I was working on the server, so I've gone behind the server, he picked up a full box of orange juice, flew it in his cell under bed. I says, "Here, it's under bed." And he gave me some crack, and I tell you, I regretted that. You do not want to smoke crack in prison, because when you're on the out, you can have a pipe, and you feel wired and paranoid, and you can have a boot to come down and have some Valium to come down, but in prison, you can't. So I've had this pipe and I was wired and paranoid for about an hour. It was horrible. I tell you, I would never have crack in prison ever again. But anyway, that's the video for today. If you enjoyed the video, press the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Nerf de pap.